If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Player Performance, the morning show on this Wednesday. It is July 23rd, 2025. The Shark and the Gun. We rejoin you after another successful weekend show. We plan to do it today. We got 10 games this afternoon. It feels like a full card show. Gunz, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like we're doing this on a Saturday. It's got that kind of feel, but, you know, we got 10 games on the board, heavy matinee card. We're not going to have one for the Thursday one because there's really only one game that's going to be early there. But we're going to be talking about virtually a full card here on Wednesday. And we have some leans, we have some takes, and we have some plays to give you. So I can't wait to get into it. Shark, let's do it.
Absolutely a great conversation to ensue. Please drop your comments in the chat. The morning show on this Wednesday, MLB Player Performance, starts now.
I live the bright lights, the type, the crowd lights, where you at, ballers? Ladies love me and men, they want a Billy, they pay to come see me, where you at, ballers?
Wednesdays are for winning. First game on the card, 12:05 Eastern. Reds Nationals, a national game, MLB Network. Probably a showcase to two young pitchers. Michael Soroka hosting Nick Lodolo, Reds Nats. We say this every time we open this show. It is not actually something we pre-write into the script. Sometimes, if not almost always, the first game is a very difficult game. Soroka obviously has jumped around the league, projected to be an ace with the Braves going back about 7 or 8 years. He is finding, I would say, volatility being his most defining point. Lodolo, more of volatility. Tough spot here. I think both pitchers are going to struggle this afternoon. Gunz, any thoughts?
I kind of lean towards the Cincinnati side if it was for me. Just looking at some of Lodolo's numbers based on what we're seeing with the line right now. You have Cincinnati 5-1 straight up and to the under in Lodolo's last 6 starts. So they've really performed well when he's been on the bump. But on the other side, when you say, oh, that's great for the under if it's 5-1 to the under in his last 6, but he's 4-1 to the over versus the NL East. It's a very different story when he's playing that division. He's also 7-2 straight up in Lodolo's starts as a favorite of -150 or less. And this is where this line is sitting for this game. But you look at Michael Soroka. Washington really hasn't performed with him. 0-7 straight up and 6-1 to the over in his last 7 starts. He's also Washington is 1-5 in Soroka starts as a dog of +150 or less, which you see here. 1-5 straight up at home in Soroka starts and 4-2 to the over in his last 6. So maybe to lean towards the over, knowing that these pitchers may be giving up some runs here. However, early game. So you don't know how the batters are going to show up on this one. So if I have one lean to one way or the other, not an official play, of course, I'd probably lean towards the Cincinnati side. I just thought this line would be a little bit stronger, knowing Soroka is on the mound. Kind of isn't, so it gives me a little bit of hesitation. But if I had to take this one, Cincinnati money line or pass.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Nick Lodolo has actually faced the Nats twice in the last 2 years. One was last summer. He took a road loss at Mackenzie Gore. Let that be what it is. Of course, Mackenzie Gore is the ace of the Washington staff. This season, Saturday, May 3rd, home game, 11-6 loss versus Trevor Williams. Really just a poor effort from Lodolo. Lodolo has actually been surprisingly good in matinees this year. Only one poor start road at an early time at Cleveland. Cleveland in the American League is not the Nationals. I would lean towards Cincinnati here. Obviously, Soroka, really not the guy. Tough game, but better games away. We will keep it moving. Next game on the card, going to Miami, Lone Depot Park. Marlins, Padres, Game 3. Also early start, 12-10 here. Battle of the Aces. Dylan Cease at Sandy Alcantara. I say aces, but every time we bring up Sandy on this show, we ask ourselves, is this the Cy Young from a couple years ago? Or is this just a dude throwing straight fastballs straight down the middle? Gunz, I do not like anything Sandy's doing, no matter what the context this year. Any thoughts?
When you said going to Miami, I thought you were going to break into a Will Smith song there, but you said there's one potential ace, but Dylan Cease is not great either. I mean, you look at his numbers, 2-6 straight up in his last 8 road starts. However, San Diego is 3-1 in Cease's starts versus the NL East, so he's kind of performed well in that against that division. Sandy Alcantara, a little bit different there. Last 5 starts really been great, but Miami's kind of been on a hot streak. So I think a lot of these pitchers you're going to see have good records when they're on the bump. 5-2 straight up in his last 7 starts. He's also 3-0 in his last 3 home games, all as a dog. Miami 5-1 straight up in Alcantara's home starts as a dog of plus 150 or less. It's like there's no real good line to look at Miami. They're just kind of like always kind of sailing through games, kind of figuring out winning in late innings in a lot of these cases. Maybe a first 5 look with San Diego. I really don't have a look at this game because I think that Dylan Cease does perform well versus the NL East, and really Miami seems to be performing well with Alcantara. Just going to be a complete pass for me.
Yeah, if I had to lean one direction, I would lean towards the Padres. Of course, it's a bit of a square take. Padres 9 games over 500. Marlins sitting here 6 under as we record this show. But I think one really key point, as I mentioned, Sandy Alcantara is not the Cy Young winner we saw a couple years ago. Reconstructive arm surgery. The guy always lived in the zone. So now that he's maybe not locating as well as he did in his Cy Young campaign, he does get rocked. And if you go back to Wednesday, May 28th, he actually did pitch at San Diego against a very similar lineup to what we're going to see this afternoon. Incredibly unimpressive. 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 walks, 6 earned runs. And one thing we've been talking about on these morning shows as we've started doing these over the last month and a half is these getaway games oftentimes lean under. The pitchers are rested. They're not in the clubhouse the previous night. The lineup has a quick turnaround, but the pitchers don't. I think this is going to be the opposite of that narrative. I think you're going to see runs here. I don't think either pitcher is going to perform particularly well in this environment. And the line is holding strength. San Diego was minus 175 in that game. They did open at minus 159 here on the road. It should be shorter towards Miami if this was not a Cease spot. And final point on this, Cease has looked good very uniquely on the road this year. You mentioned it. I'll just give some emphasis. Only real solid out-of-division performances this year at Washington and Pittsburgh. Miami has been scrappy, but they definitely fit the conversation of non-playoff teams within the NL out of the division versus San Diego. So I think you're really looking at the Padres here. Of course, we're giving you 2 chalk specials to start off. It's baseball. It happens. You can't always be on the underdog. Take San Diego in this game. Let's cash. And let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, 12:15. This is telling me MLB Network as well. I guess you get either the Reds Nationals or you get the Giants Braves. Game 3, Truist Park. Really interesting game here. Also a great pitching matchup given historical standards. Justin Verlander. I was watching him pitch at Yankee Stadium back in 2008. Here we are 17 years later. I never would have thought. Verlander 0-8? Really? Spencer Strider off reconstructive arm surgery himself, or a significant injury, I should say, has not looked great either. I think that leads to, yet again, more runs. Gunz, any thoughts?
You're probably on the right track with the runs. That's the only way I'd say this. Like, I don't really have an official play on this one. It's a complete pass because you just have 2 pitchers that used to be aces, now are basically, 5th starter rotation type pitchers like Verlander. Verlander 2-11 straight up in his last 13 starts, 1-5 straight up when Verlander's a dog. Strider not that much better, 4-8 straight up in his starts this year. Atlanta is. So really, for me to pick a pitcher on this one, and I think some of those wins came like somewhere in May or when they were like, he hit probably 3 in a row, but he's been on a little bit of a losing streak as of late. I'm talking about Strider, but not 2 pitchers that I want to bet on or bet against. I'm just going to completely pass on this one, but if a gun to my head, no pun intended, I'd probably look at the total and see a lot of runs scored in this one.
Yeah, and, within this season, obviously we said Verlander really has shelled his younger self. He's had a great career, so there's no shame in what he's doing now. The guy is an absolute veteran Hall of Famer, but this is really a bottom-out point. He's ineffective at this point. And if you look at what the only unique corollary point here I can find in terms of a road environment this year, he had 1 start at a National League East opponent. It was Philadelphia, and it was at Jesus Luzardo, who's projected in the range of efficiency of Spencer Strider. The game did go over 6-4 Philadelphia. Very similar line structure as well. Philadelphia minus 160. Atlanta opened at 182 here. Now they're minus 170. And final point on this, Spencer Strider actually does have in-season matchup data. He did pitch at San Francisco on Sunday, June 8th. Low-scoring game, 4-3. Key point on the line, this is in-season line functionality. The line there was actually 7.5. So books got it right. It was an under. This has moved up to 8.5. I have this projected to hit 10 runs. It's going to be not exactly the pitcher's duel you would expect. Best look in this game, take the over, and let's cash. Next game on the card, 12:35, Tigers Pirates, interleague baseball, also a getaway game. Bunch of games here early as these teams are traveling after this afternoon's game. This is going to be an interesting game. Tigers obviously looked like the class of the league in the first half. They have really fallen off in the last 10 games, particularly hitting the baseball. This team has only totaled 7 runs in their last 7 road games. If played in the first 9, they did explode for 6 runs in the top of the 10th inning at Cleveland on Sunday, June 6th to go over in a Tarek Skubal game. Other than that, they've been incapable of scoring. Ultimately, I think this is a team that was too hot. They were way higher than their projections. Now they're just showing signs of regression to the mean, a classic statistical term, and we love that in baseball. This is a rookie pitcher, Troy Melton, excuse me, San Diego State product. You guys hear us every time on this show talking about if we see a bullpen game or a first start in the majors for a guy, I always snap my fingers, toss it. It's tough. Gunz, any thoughts?
I agree. It's a toss. If you don't have any data on the guy, I don't know what to do with him. I got data on Bailey Falter, 0-3 straight up versus the AL Central this year when he's been on the mound, and that includes losing to the Chicago White Sox. So this guy, Falter, really hasn't performed well in that against that division. Also, Falter did lose to Detroit on the road back in June. Plus 178 dog here, short dog at home. But I think that's a little bit correlated on the fact that he's going against a first-time pitcher here, and you could be looking at a bullpen game. I don't know how far they're going to go with this guy. Kind of really hard to cap on this one from even a first 5 perspective. Just a complete pass for me. I can't imagine that the Detroit Tigers are going to get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates in this game. Granted, they are 1-8 in their last 9. You can't really back the Detroit Tigers on this one, and I really wouldn't recommend backing the Pittsburgh Pirates either.
Yeah, no, it's a tough game, and obviously a lot of these interleague games were extremely data deficient. I do think you might see more runs than not here. I'm not entirely sure what the story is with this rookie pitcher, Troy Melton. Obviously, Kiter Montero at the back end of the rotation for the Tigers does not look very impressive. There is some speculation in the local tabloid papers that Montero is going to be headed to the minors. They're going to give Melton a chance. This kid was a 4th-round draft pick of the Tigers in 2022, as I mentioned, from San Diego State. We don't have a lot of data on this. I will say in terms of the over, Bailey Falter has not been good at home in matinees, particularly against the American League. He's already had 3 games against the American League at home this year. The games finished 10-4, 8-3, and 10-1. And going back to last year, Falter at home versus the American League, 6 combined games are averaging 10.8 runs per game. So we're data deficient on the Detroit side. Over in this game is the best look. Don't love the game, but we give you a look in every game on MLB Player Performance. Take the over and let's cash. Next game on the card, 1:10 p.m. Citi Field, Mets Angels interleague as well. Final game of this series. As we're currently recording this show, we are not really in tune with who the Angels are throwing. We do see Sean Manaea on the mound for the Mets. Really ambiguous, hard to predict, obviously not knowing one side of the pitching matchup. I do think Manaea has been very good at home, and he does strike out a ton of guys. Gunz, any thoughts?
The problem is he only got 1 start under his belt this year, and that was against Cincinnati. He was a minus 152 favorite, lost that game. So tough spot for, not having any good data on anything because we don't know who the pitcher is for the Angels as we're recording this show. and Manaea just not having a lot of data as well. This was just a complete pass for me, and I was just on to the next game.
Yeah, as I mentioned, just actually only one start for the Mets this year for Manaea. He did come in relief of Clay Holmes at Kansas City on Sunday, July 13th. But he has been a strikeout machine. And I want to give a shout to, of course, the prop master. I'm sure Luke is deep in the details of this particular environment in this game. But only 2 appearances and actually limited pitches in both this year, 65 pitches and 69 pitches, 7 strikeouts at Kansas City, 6 strikeouts, only home game on July 18th. So I think he's going to strike out a lot of guys. And just one final point on this. Last year, Manaea was in his first campaign with the Mets. After starting out poorly at home, he did actually go 10-0 straight up at Citi Field between June 14th and a playoff win against Philadelphia on October 8th. So this guy is comfortable in New York. He's pitched on the West Coast. Not a lot of guys come to New York and truly find a quick niche, but I do think he will get the win this afternoon, and look for the K prop over 2 plays, 1 game, both looks, and we'll keep it moving. Next game on the card, 2:20 in Chicago, Wrigley Field. Colin Ray against Seth Lugo. Very good data here. The gun has been whispering to us all year about totals at Wrigley. If it's a low total, it's a pitcher's duel. If it's a high one, it's going to skyrocket. I think it's going to skyrocket this afternoon. Gunz, I believe you align.
Yeah, and I have a little bit more argument data on this one because Seth Lugo is going to be on the mound for Kansas City. Well, Kansas City's done well when he's been on the mound, 4-2 straight up, 4-2 to the under in his last 6 starts. However, this is the highest total we've ever seen in a Lugo start. Then you got to look at some of the other numbers on this one. KC, 3-5 straight up and 5-3 to the under in Lugo's road starts, 5-1 to the under as a road dog. But like I said, high total. Very different scenario here when you're dealing with 10 plus here. And while we don't really know as we're recording this show who the pitcher was, I thought it was going to be Colin Rea. But just look at what Chicago has done when the total is double digits this year. 7-1-1 to the over in their home games when the total is 9.5 or more. As long as this total stays above 9.5, I think it's sufficient that we could be taking the over on this one. It did open up at around 11 when they thought Rea was going to be the pitcher, and then it went down to 10 when they pulled him. We'll see who the pitcher is on this one. Maybe you can grab some some line value. If you're watching this show early and they haven't made the decision on the pitcher, we'll have to see about that overnight. But I think this is still holds validity, and we should be taking the over in this one. KC, Chicago, over 10 is my official pick for the show.
Yeah, just to confirm, Colin Rea is not pitching now?
Yeah, I'm seeing TBD on 2 sites now. Hang on, let me see if that's... Yeah, I'm seeing TBD.
Okay.
I think he got pulled.
Okay. All right, well, that certainly opens up the handicap a little bit, but I do agree the over is the best look in this game. And I think looking at the Kansas City side of this game, looking at Seth Lugo actually did face the Cubs last year. It was a home game in Kansas City, Saturday, July 27, 2024, versus Shota Imanaga. The game did go over, 9-4 Chicago. And key point on the line there, the total in that game was only 8. And now this moves up to 10.5. And that really indicates a Wrigley special. And for those of you guys out in Wrigley, you know what that means. Get a PBR, get a Coors Light, get a Bud Light, sit in the outfield and catch home run balls. Lugo's going to get hit. If this is a bullpen game for the Cubs, we say it every time. Bullpen games are overs generally. It's almost unavoidable that at least 1 to 2 of the pitchers are going to be pedestrian within the game. Best look in this game, take the over, and let's cash. Next game on the card, 3:10 in Colorado. Cardinals, Rockies, also game 3. Rockies obviously started this campaign absolutely terribly. Worst record in over 100 years through 40 games. Since then, they have improved at least marginally. You still can't exactly call this team competent. This is another game we're going the direction of the over. It seems like we're really clustering overs this afternoon. It is the middle of July. It is Coors Field. Gunz, do we have another over?
Yeah, we're just looking. Hey, listen, we're just looking at what the lines are telling us, right? And you have these high totals in Coors Field. I mean, you have to pick pitcher to pitcher, obviously. Of course, we don't have the pitcher on this one, but we're picking it strictly on Palante on this one. Largest money line. He's going to be a heavy favorite in this game. Largest of the year. St. Louis is 5-3 to the run line, 7-1 in as a favorite of minus 150 or more when he is on the bump. So look at those numbers there. Also, the over is 5-2 and Palante starts when the total is 10 or more. So the Palante has a sample size where this total has been that high. And as I'm looking at it right now, I think we're seeing an 11 on the board right now. Yeah, we're seeing 11s on the board. So I think this is another instance where we're probably going to be looking at another high scoring game in the afternoon slate. STL Colorado over is the only way I'd go with this one.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys my top free play of this card. And this is also a VIP play for those of you guys who are tuning in this morning. We appreciate you guys tuning in the morning show. We love to bring you guys the content, conversation, hype, and, of course, the top analysis. This is Kyle Freeland at home. The guy's an absolute gas can, 29 earned runs and only 43 and 2/3 innings pitched. And Andre Palante, we've been on here. Oh, it's not Kyle Freeland?
It's Gordon.
Oh, I swear, this is unbelievable. Every pitcher changed in the last time.
Yeah, it did.
All right. Well, regardless of that, I think this is still an overtake. And I think if you actually look at Palante, very interesting patterns in terms of how he pitches on the road. If he's pitching consecutive games on the road. When I was looking at this afternoon, I was actually kind of blown away by it. If you go through his schedule, he had 3 consecutive road starts at the Mets, at Atlanta, and at Cincinnati. The first start, he had 7 hits against, 4 earned runs. Came back, second start, 7 hits against, 4 earned runs. Third one, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. He basically had the same exact start 3 times in a row. He's a young guy. So it's that classic young player. When they go decent, they stay decent. When they go bad, they go bad. The second sequence I'm talking about here was actually Saturday, May 10th and Friday, May 16th at Washington, followed up by at Kansas City. In this particular sequence, he was great in both. 7 1/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs at Washington, came back, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs at Kansas City, which brings us to this afternoon's game, second consecutive road game off of an awful start. So mediocre becomes more mediocre, great becomes great, bad becomes bad. Last start, Friday the 18th, coming out of the All-Star break at Arizona, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 5 earned runs. It doesn't get any easier. You stay on the West Coast. You did not go home to St. Louis, and now you go to Coors Field in the middle of the afternoon. This is a 1:10 game Mountain Time. People are going to be drinking beers out there, chirping Palante. It's going to be hot. This is a fitness game from a pitcher's standpoint. Over in this game is absolutely the best look. Take it and let's dominate. Next game on the card, 3:40, Diamondbacks Astros game 3. As we give you guys a quick rundown of these games, I think this is probably the best game on the card. We're looking at Brandon Pfaadt and we're looking at Brandon Walter, first year starter for the Astros.
Well, we don't know that for sure. To be determined.
I take a breath. However, if it is the projected starter as we're recording Brandon Walter is 0-5 on the road. And I don't think it improves here. I think it gets more difficult. For whatever reason, he's been good outside of the division at American League opponents. He has not been good at the National League or on Western or Mountain Time. Only road start this year at the National League at Colorado on July 3rd. He was terrible. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. Colorado, we just mentioned, the worst team in the sport. Diamondbacks significantly better. Brandon Pfaadt will perform. Gunz, I believe you align.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Brandon Walter, is the pitcher for Houston because his numbers also correlate to an over. I mean, 5-1 to the over in his last 6 starts, and he's also 1-4 straight up, 4-1 to the over in his last 5 road starts. And Brandon Pfaadt on the other side. He's been an over pitcher. Last 9 starts, 8-1 to the over in his last 9. He's also 6-1 to the over in his last 7 home starts. He's also been good in this line function that we're seeing here in this minus 100 to minus 150 roll. He's 3-1 straight up in those positions as a home favorite in minus 150 to minus 100. And I just think this is a better pitching matchup for the Arizona side than it is for the Houston side. I almost don't care as long as Framer Valdez, who is pitching today, as long as he doesn't step in and go for day 2. I think I'm very comfortable with taking not only the Arizona side on this one, but I think it's going to be a high scoring affair in Arizona. So I would also take the over in that game. Arizona money line and the over. Play it 2 ways.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. And just a couple more points here. Obviously, Brandon Pfaadt, young pitcher for the Diamondbacks, but extreme patterns as well. This guy pitches great at home against the American League. He's 3-0 this year versus American League opponents. Couple overs too. So, Gunz, I think you're onto something there. 9-0 win against Baltimore. Very similar line structure, minus 125 versus Dean Kramer. And for those of you guys who follow the Orioles, you know one thing about Dean Kramer. Not a good road pitcher. Just what we said about Brandon Walter. So it's the same line structure out of conference versus a very similar pitcher. I think this could be a blowout. The other 2 games also margin versus Tampa Bay on April 22nd. 5-1 win versus Zach Littell. Very impressive. And a 10-3 blowout against an American League West opponent, Seattle, on June 10th. Last year, Pfaadt was also 3-0 against the American League, 6-0 at home versus American League opponents since the beginning of 2024. This is an elite look. It's a VIP look. Again, we appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. I might have multi-units on this. That's why you buy the packages. This is a collaboration. The Shark and the Gun, take the Diamondbacks, and let's cash. Next game on the card, 3:40 T-Mobile Park in Seattle. More interleague baseball, yet another getaway game. Luis Castillo against Quinn Priester. Very interesting conversation here. Nobody in the world had the Brewers being this hot coming into this game, but I do think this is where they come down a bit. Nobody in the world has the Brewers winning 100 straight games. It has to come the other direction, and why would it not come the other direction against Luis Castillo? This guy used to pitch in the NL Central. He knows the Brewers. He will be pissed off against his old rival from when he pitched for the Reds. And I think Quinn Priester coming off an ace start at the Dodgers, a little too hot. Gunz, you agree? Not necessarily on Seattle, but I believe you have the over.
Yeah, I like the total on this one. And you might be looking at the total and being like 7.5 is kind of a low number. And Gunz usually take unders in those situations. Let's take a step back here and look at how these teams perform in these situations. So yes, Quinn Priester's pitched very well. And Milwaukee has performed for him. 8-1 straight up, 7-0-2 in first 5s in his last 9 starts. Milwaukee, has won 4 straight when Priester has been a dog. So in every type of situation where you think it's supposed to go the opposite direction, you think Priester's going to regress, somehow Milwaukee always finds a way to win. So let's focus on the total here. The total is 7.5 as we're recording this show. The over is 3-0 and Priester starts when the total is 7.5 or less this year. So when the totals have been low for Priester starts, seems like there's going to be runs scored. On the other side with Luis Castillo, 6-1 straight up in his last 7 starts, 7-2 in Castillo starts last 9 when he is a favorite of minus 150 or less. So he's kind of a strong pitcher from a side standpoint in this position. And yes, he has data when the total is 7.5. Over is 4-1 in those situations. And you got to look at Castillo too. High barrel rate for him, and he's got a high expected ERA. So kind of correlates to what we're seeing here. Now, 7.5 may be low, but not for Seattle. Seattle, you see a lot of 6.5s. You see a lot of 7s. For some reason, it could be the pitchers. It could be how you hit in that park. It is a big park. Probably not a lot of runs scored here, but I think we're going to see runs in this game. The way I would play this one is Milwaukee, Seattle over the total of 7.5 as the play.
Yeah, and I agree. And as I said, I think Seattle is a really top look here as well. Castillo this year at home, 65 2/3 innings pitched, only 15 earned runs. The guy is a great home pitcher up in Seattle. And, He's also good against the National League. As I mentioned, of course, he used to play in the National League. I think that is really a component to this. I don't think it's just totally arbitrary. I think he knows National League lineups very well, and I think he does have motivation to beat his ex-rival type of teams. He's 2-0 this year against the National League. He's given up 0 earned runs at home against the NL this year in those 2 starts. And Priester, as we said, just aced the Dodgers, really his best career start, given the opponent quality and the actual result. 10 Ks in only 6 innings, 3 hits, no walks, total control. But the last time he had a road game against an American League opponent, also a matinee, it was really the opposite of total control. Sunday, June 22nd at Minnesota, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs against. This kid is young. It's going to be hard for him to stay the course mentally coming off that start. I think he's going to struggle this afternoon. Really like the Mariners and the gun on the over. We got a lot of data. We're giving you guys the plays. Let's dominate. Final game on the card, Dodgers Twins. Yet another interleague game. This is also a national game, MLB Network. At Dodger Stadium, Tyler Glasnow hosting Chris Paddock. You know, we talked about Hunter Brown the other day as a young pitcher who gets into the woods, the weeds, whatever you want to call it, and can't figure out the way out. That is precisely what Chris Paddock is. When this guy goes bad, he stays bad. He has looked absolutely terrible in recent history. The only way in this game I could look, of course, I have the shirt on for no other reason than I like the color, but we like the Dodgers blue in this one, I think. Correct, Gunz?
I mean, it's heavily juiced. It's minus 225, so I ain't going to play the side on this one. But I like the total on this one. Kind of a little bit interesting point with these 2 pitchers. Paddock, yeah, Shark, you said it best. Minnesota just underperforms, and probably Paddock is probably the catalyst of that in a lot of these cases. 2-9 straight up in his last 11 starts. 4-2 to the run line, though, as a dog of plus 150 or more. So take note of that. He's also 5-2 to the under. As a road dog this year, which he's sitting in this spot. Now he's going against Tyler Glasnow. Now, Tyler Glasnow, if you've actually seen him pitch, he's only had, this is only his 3rd start since coming back into the lineup. I think he was out till from late April into July. Now he's back in the lineup. So he's 0-2 straight up, and he's 2-0 to the under since coming back into the lineup. Also, in all his starts this year, Dodgers have been more of an under, 6-2 to the under in those positions. And I'm seeing the line here, and I think for 8.5, kind of a lowish line. I'm leaning towards the under on this one. I'm probably going to have to dig in a little bit deeper to actually make it official. Not my strongest play on the board in the matinee slate. But if I'm going to play this one, I'm not going to mess with the side because it's too heavily juiced. Maybe even lean towards a plus 1.5. Let's back Paddock here for a second. I know it's the Dodgers, but I don't think the Dodgers are really playing Dodger baseball. Maybe they're not going to start to ramp up until August and September, and then you're going to see who they really are. We'll have to see, but I think the under has validity here. Give me Minnesota Dodgers under as my lean.
Yeah, you know, as I said with Paddock, he's very hard to figure out, but I do think when he starts to pitch poorly, he just, for whatever reason, doesn't figure it out very quickly. It takes him time to get back to where he should be. His road environments this year are very bizarre. From April 18th all the way through June 1st, he was actually great on the road. 35 1/3 innings pitched, only 8 earned runs. He was really a road pitcher. But since June 13th, 3 road starts, all limited in terms of his ability to stay on the mound. 14 innings pitched, 17 earned runs. So it completely flipped. And I don't see it going the other direction. Tyler Glasnow, obviously, you said limited sample at home, was a good pitcher. Obviously, with the Rays, came over here 2 seasons ago. This guy's an ace. The guy's like 6'8". He's got incredible stuff. Only 18 1/3 this year at home at Dodger Stadium. Only 5 earned runs. And I think a key point, 4 home runs against. So he's basically giving up solo shots or nothing. And I think that speaks to dominance. And I also think, giving another shout to the prop master here, I think somebody on Minnesota is going to take this guy yard. So when you start to look at Minnesota, look at their home run hitters. Buxton, Larnack, a couple others. I think there's actually some pretty fun home run props in this game for the Twins. I I think the Dodgers win. I think Paddock is really, as I said, in the woods, the weeds, not where he wants to be. Dodgers are the look, and really look at some fun plays on the props for Minnesota home run hitters. That is the fastest 35 minutes you will ever find on a Wednesday morning, detailing 10 Major League Baseball games, the Shark and the Gun, and we got best bet. Gunz picks, it's 11 a.m., it's 11:35 now. You are certifiably the dog. Who do you have today?
I mean, what do they call it? Life, death, taxes. We're going to be taking KC Chicago over the 10 as long as it stays above 9.5. Always take the over in Wrigley Field. And of course, that over in that Milwaukee Seattle game. I like that one too at 7.5. Those are the two top plays I like in the matinee slate.
Yeah, I'm going to give you two plays. Give you guys two plays. Take the over Giants Braves. And I think you're going to see a lot of runs in that game. And I do love the Diamondbacks with Brandon Pfaadt on the money line. So that's 3 free plays on this show. Those are VIP plays for you guys who tune in and hang out with us, even on these weekday mornings. We're going to skip the parlay for today. There's too many moving parts in terms of these pitching matchups to really put together a ton of sides. Stay tuned and, of course, buy our packages. Not so the Gun and I can sit on yachts and smoke cigars, but so we can connect with you guys and really give you the highest.
So you guys can park your yachts next to our yachts, right? I mean, everybody's got to have a yacht, so we want the waters to be full of yachts. That's why you got to get in our packages.
Precisely. And buy the packages again, because this is our highest level of work. We put hours and hours a day into this. We're not here to mess around. We want to bring you the highest quality. We appreciate you guys immensely. Gunz, give us some words, and I'll close it out.
Yeah, I mean, just go check us out on all social media platforms. You can check us out, Why Lose Gunz, Why Lose Shark on Instagram and on Telegram. If you don't know how to get to Telegram, go to Why Lose underscore Gunz, G-U-N-Z, or you can go to Why Lose underscore Shark. Our link's in our bio, and you can join our channels there, and then you'll see all the information, all the free picks, all the breakdowns, and the special packages that we offer during the process of the season. I've got my college football and NFL packages up and ready to go, 50% off all the way up to week 0. I already know what I'm going to bet on week 0. I already know what I'm going to bet on week 1, and I also know what my win totals are going to be in 2 conferences. So you want to join that right now. And yeah, come join us on Saturday and Sunday where we do live shows, 11 a.m. East Coast. And that's going to do it. Let's cash some tickets. Let's have ourselves a absolute damn Wednesday.
No doubt. And, speaking of football, I haven't put together my package yet, but the Gun and I were talking about some college football. For those of you guys who haven't followed us in football, we love baseball. You feel this energy? Football is about 100 times more intense. I'm already looking at it. Gunz and I, you and I were talking about a little Iowa State, Kansas State in Dublin to start things off week 0. I'm excited for it. You're here with us now. You guys will be here with us on college football week 0. We appreciate you guys in the chat hanging out with us. For those of you guys who are watching at a later date, we thank you as well. For J.A. Cavalier cashing tickets around the world, the prop master Luke Shuey and Coach Rick. He is the Gun. I am the Shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces.